One of the challenges for playing this all-region audition music for bass clarinet is being able to play smooth register changes, both directions, both up and down, and just playing the upper register of the bass clarinet. The bass clarinet makes a beautiful sound, but it's stuffy in the upper register, and some instruments are stuffier than others. And we've got to figure out how to be able to play that register of the instrument in an efficient and comfortable way. So one of the things that I think is probably the best for you to think about is that it doesn't take more air or faster air than the lower register. In fact, if you just play it like you're playing the low register of the instrument and just casually add the register key, but don't force anything, and in fact, feel like you're relaxing into the upper register, I think you might have a pretty good result. So let's just play a couple ascending twelfths and see what that feels like. How about let's start down with low A. Low register A, and when we add the register key, we'll end up on top space E. Maybe you want to think about playing a good healthy forte in the low register and then decrescendo to mezzo piano in the upper register. That can help you relax. Let's work our way down the horn a little bit. Let's go down to low G. So add a finger, let's play a low G and then add the 12th. It's going to start feeling even stuffier. Okay, let's go further, and I'm going to use notes that are in the D major scale for you. Concert C, your D major, because we're going to use a D major scale in just a moment. So on down to low F sharp. So bottom shelf, top pinky key there. Okay, one more, low E. Add the register key. Now let's practice playing a 12th up and then step down to A natural, to throat A. So we're going to practice the register change coming down and then going back up again. The throat A is probably going to feel a lot more free and easy to play compared to the B natural one step away from it. But we just have to train our bodies what that's going to feel like. So, low E, add the register key for the B natural, step down to A, back up. I would recommend you keep all of your right fingers on the horn right now. Keep them down. Let's not make our work harder than it needs to be. Okay, another part of that register change right there is your left index finger. You need to keep your left index finger really efficient here with the horn. You don't want to move the finger more than it needs to. So you should be trying to get the A lever with the side of your index finger right around the fingernail area. There's a rocking motion right there. We don't want to go far. We don't want to go quite a ways up the A lever. We want to stay really low on the key. And it's a good habit to try to keep your fingernail in line with the A lever all of the time. Sometimes I'll see players where their finger starts traveling that way the more that they use it. So I'm trying to stay really close right there. And maybe just the idea of cradling the G sharp key, the A flat G sharp throat key, keeping contact with that as well. So our finger comes up and curls around right there. That's a good habit to be in. And that motion usually works pretty well. Okay, let's do that one more time. Low E, B in the upper register, step down to A, back up. Okay, now we're going to get closer to playing a D major scale, adding one note at a time. So let's begin on low F sharp. F sharp, 12th up to C sharp, come down to B, come down to throat A, back up. One more. Let's go from low G. Play the register up to the 12th to a D, step down, C sharp, B, A, back up again. Okay, now we're going to play our 12th up to D, and then we're going to come all the way down the D major scale. D, C sharp, B natural, throat A, G, F sharp, E, D. All the way down. Again, I'm roughly slurring quarter notes to half notes, depending on how fast you think we're going. Okay, we played the scale descending on purpose because it's usually easier to deal with register changes on the way down. We've played our stuffy B, and then we step down to A, and that's a nice easy register change, and then it's smooth sailing from there. Now let's go both directions. We're starting on D, and then we're heading up one octave to upper register D and back down again, like you see on your scale pages. Usually your scale rhythms are da, 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 da. We're not going to do it that way. We'll play roughly equal notes, quarter notes, and we're doing it slurred. Of course, you're going to want to play the rhythms that you're required to play on your scale pages, but I always recommend starting with slur, because that way you're checking with your air. You're getting yourself acclimated for the resistance in your instrument when you play register changes. You're also making sure that your fingers are clean and precise before your tongue gets in there and maybe causes some coordination problems along the way. Slurring is always a great way to start when you're dealing with articulation. The 6/8 meter in the Aria excerpt presents two challenges for you. One, just the meter itself and getting used to playing 6/8 meter. And in this case, it's 6/8 that you play in 6. Typically, we go with a dotted quarter note pulse, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Often when we play 6/8, things are moving quicker, but in this case, it's a lot slower and every eighth note gets a beat. So that's one part. The second part is counting out accurately the dotted eighth note part of the rhythm. So we'll address both of those right now. First thing to keep in mind is in 6/8 time, the eighth note gets the beat. Now, let's talk about equivalencies. Let's talk about stuff that you are probably more comfortable with. First thing is, in 4/4 time, you understand relationships. So, for example, on this high-tech page right here, I'm reminding you that you are used to playing 4/4 time or 2/4, and you know that a quarter note can be broken down into 2 eighth notes. You know that 4 16th notes take up the space of 2 eighth notes or 1 quarter note. You are used to playing those equivalencies. Okay? Now, on this particular piece that you're playing in the all region music, you have perhaps some new stuff. So let's talk about the relationships here. This works the same way as you're used to in 4/4 time. So in 6/8 time, we know that the eighth note gets the beat. Now we also know that 2 16th notes can fit in the space of 1/8 note. For you, what's perhaps new will be the 32nd notes. 4 32nd notes will fit into the same space as an 1/8 note, or the same space as 2 16th notes. We've just added a beam down here, one more beam going across on those 32nd notes. So that's the first part. And recognizing that what I'm showing you here and what I showed you on the 4/4 page are roughly equivalent. We have a note that is the beat, and then we break it down into smaller units. We divide it by 2, we divide it by 4. It works the same way. In 6/8 time, the 1/8 note is our basic pulse. Now, let's look at the rhythm that's probably the most challenging in this piece. If you look at measure 5, and you get that rhythm several more times in this piece. Let's talk about the equivalent that you might have if we were playing something with a quarter note pulse. So, for example, on this page, I have written the same rhythm, the exact same rhythm, but in 2 different meters. Here I've put it in 6/4 time, which would mean that you have 6 quarter notes per measure. I've written the exact same rhythm that you have in your piece of music in 6/8 time. They would be played exactly the same way. So let's speak that rhythm out, just using daw. We don't have to sing pitches, we're just going to sing the rhythm on a monotone daw. I'm going to do this here, and I'm going to be doing the same rhythm. I could be singing this one or this one, it's the same way. So first off, why don't you look at the top line as I'm speaking this. Here we go. I'm going to do the 6/4 time. 2, ready, and da, 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 da. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing. You should look down at the bottom line. Ready, and da, 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 da. It comes out exactly the same whether I'm in 6/4 time or 6/8 time. I had to resolve it, although that doesn't really sound like a normal resolution in music, does it? That A natural is a little bit of a surprise. That's a different topic, perhaps. I've played the rhythm. Now, the last challenge is the dotted part, that dotted 1/8 note. Knowing exactly how long that is. I like to practice rhythms like that with dots. I like tonguing the subdivision for that note. I know that that note, that dotted 1/8 note, is going to get subdivided by 3. So I might play it this way. By subdividing with my tongue, I'm planning ahead for the 16th notes that are coming up, and I'm making sure that I'm holding that dotted note for the exact right amount of time, and I know right when to go on. I think that's a big challenge for everybody, is knowing when to go on. And we need to move right after our 3rd subdivision. Maybe you only go as far as the E flat. You practice that a few times. After you get used to hearing your tongued subdivision, you take away the tonguing part, but hopefully you continue to hear it that way in your head. So hopefully that can help you with the counting of this. And notice that you're going to do the same thing in measure 6, exact same rhythm. Measure 7, that's where knowing that 4 32nd notes takes up the space of 1/8 note is helpful for you. And maybe you want to plan ahead and subdivide getting into it. Again, once you get used to tonguing that subdivision, you start hearing it that way, and maybe that will help you move at the rate of speed you need to with your fingers. I hope these tips will help you as you prepare your all-region music this year. For more bass clarinet information and suggestions, you might want to check out my video on bass clarinet fundamentals. Thanks for watching.